Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to a Sunday night. It is the Earthmaster, about 10:23 p.m. California time, June 30th, 2024. Latest activity here on the globe shows, a lot of activity in Hawaii. Quite a bit of swarming going on there still. Following an elevated seismic event there, just south of the caldera, or just south of the summit region of Kilauea Volcano. And man, I'm telling you, I'm really surprised we have not seen something take place here with all of this activity. So as of right now, 177 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. I'm sure there's more, but this is what they're showing here on the map, mainly around the southern edge here of the summit area, upper east rift zone. I guess that would be as well. Getting a little bit of activity further offshore here as well. Going to have to watch that, because obviously that's a sign of increasing pressure out here underneath the area. Let's go ahead and go check out the latest information here from the USGS in regards to Kilauea Volcano and the current ongoing seismic activity event. Let's see, the update was put out this morning, it looks like, and they just talked about the amount of earthquake activity has been ramping up. This was this morning, so there was 500 earthquakes as of this morning in the last 24 hours. So I'm sure that's jumped up quite a bit in terms of numbers. The deformation data out here as to what's going on underneath the ground shows a little spike of an activity here. I don't know if that was some type of adjustment or maybe getting to the breaking point here of an eruption soon. But yeah, we're a little low here. But I don't think that's relief across the area. I think that's just a little bit of changes there in the location of the stress, so to speak, underneath this area. Let's go over here and check out the earthquake seismograph station here and see what we have. Let's check out this one right in here if we can see it. This is the past. There's the past 24 hours. That was quite the intense earthquake swarm overnight. On Saturday night, early Sunday morning. That was quite intense. Since then, as you can see here, we're still got quite a bit of earthquake activity. Every single one of these spikes here, small ones as well, are earthquakes. So we're kicking up. Obviously, got to watch these tilt meters too, because that gives us a good indicator where things are moving. Looks like that tilt here, there was a some type of adjustment there as well. On the other one, I think that showed uptick, right? As far as inflation goes, this one's showing a little bit of a droppage going on here. So either way, something's going on. We're getting ready for an eruption or a magma intrusion event somewhere, potentially off here to the east rift zone. But just got to watch it. That's all we can do right now. I don't have a magic ball. Nope, not a fortune teller. Just got to keep an eye here on the data and go from there. But I feel like we're getting close. Excuse me. All right. So, yeah, continued earthquake activity there with a little bit of migrational movement off to the east rift zone. These here are somewhat deep, though. I don't know if these have been reviewed by a seismologist or not. It looks like automatic status, so they may get revised. Either way, keep an eye on the Big Island of Hawaii for sure. Did see a little bit of activity up here north of the Mariana Trench, 4.6 in the Volcano Islands area of Japan, 146 kilometers deep here. There's that super deep earthquake from earlier this morning. Haven't really seen any surface adjustment yet, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that, because those two deep earthquakes there, obviously a good indicator of strain building at the area of the Filipino Trench, or the Filipino plate here, the Izu Trench and the Mariana Trench. It looks like some more deep activity around the Philippines and clustering going on here in the typical fashion across the Indonesia Islands area. That's, look at that. All the way across the region there. Very typical to see 3s, 4s, and 5s out there on any given day. There was a 3.7 here, looks like in northern Australia area. New Zealand region, still seeing a little bit of movement out here. 5.1 well south here of New Zealand, right on that triple point boundary there between the three plates. Got to watch that. Still keeping an eye on New Zealand, because they've been moving a little bit in terms of small activity, but with all the big movement here around them, north and south of them recently. It's got to make some adjustment here soon. There's our 5-pointer, I think. Look at that 5-pointer just came in here on the map. I was just talking about how we haven't seen any surface adjustment going on, and look, spoke that right into existence. 5.0 coming in now to that area where, you know, you think about it, these deeper quakes here indicating some much further strain up here across the subduction zone level. It just makes sense there, right? Without the deeper quakes, there's really, obviously there'll be some strain, but these deep quakes are a leading indicator here of some stress out in the area. And sure enough, got a 5-pointer coming up here, very shallow, 10 kilometers deep across the subduction zone. But mainly, though, we got to keep an eye here northward. A 5-pointer is very minimal. Could see some larger activity there. Across the west coast here, nothing really going on here in Nevada for now. Did see that 4-pointer a couple days ago. Haven't really seen any further aftershock activity. Northern California here, a handful of smaller quakes from today. Very shallow earthquake activity here across the Coast Range. Nothing going on here across the Cascadia, but I do want to double check. See what we have. 353 epicenters once again here across the about the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. That continues to mark over a month-long tremor event. I'm sure we're at 12,000 or more. If we could go back another week, that would add on potentially a couple more thousand. So there's all the tremor from the last month. And the majority has been in the southern end of the Cascadia. No, like I said, no surface adjustment going on here for now. The Bay Area, handful of earthquakes on the Hayward Fault, looks like. Let's see here. Well, that's actually going to be the northern end of the Calaveras Fault, which runs here to the Concord Fault. A couple small earthquakes, nothing big, just a few small minor earthquakes. Southern California, a handful of earthquakes out here as well. Really nothing of major concern for now. But as always, be on guard. Yellowstone National Park, nada, zip zero. Nothing showing up, so let's do the verification process, see what's going on. Had a couple smaller quakes here in Little West Thumb this morning, 3 or so. They did show up across other seismograph stations here in the region. Wind event out there in the dark blue. And that's about it. Really no other earthquake activity to take note of out there in Yellowstone for now. Oklahoma, Texas, handful of smaller quakes. And let's see what else we got here across the globe. That's just crazy. Impressive amount of earthquake activity for sure. 3.6 Middle America Trench. And South America seeing some 3s and 4s out there. The Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. Is it Iran over here? I think seen some activity. Let's see what that is. 5-pointer over here on the Iraq-Iran border. 5.0 coming in earlier this afternoon for this area, just off the plate boundary. They can get actually some rather large earthquakes out here across these regions, but for now, a 5-pointer and some other smaller quakes out there across the Mediterranean. All right, space weather real quick, and we'll jump on off here, get some sleep, I think. Pretty quiet across the board in terms of any major space weather events. The auroras look pretty low here over the next few nights. Haven't really seen any major Earth-directed CMEs, and we are left with, there's a whole bunch of sunspots out here, but they're looking pretty wimpy. Not a whole lot going on out here. This area I was watching this morning looks like it's starting to split and really not do too much in terms of complexity. And like I said, there's not a whole lot out here. Numerous sunspots, but not a whole lot of complexity. So the aurora forecast will stay low. A lot of declining is the key out here in these sunspots. Aside from that, let's see what we got here for the hurricane out here. Hurricane Beryl is now 130 mile per hour wind, so still category 4. That is expected to remain a very dangerous system as it heads off towards the Mexico area. Jamaica looks like that may be included in there as well. Here's the forecast line. As you can see, major hurricane. Does look like it's going to die down a little bit once it gets towards the Jamaica area, but it is rapidly intensifying right now. Moving off to the west at about 20 miles per hour. Here's the current tropical storm warnings up here across areas of Haiti. Hurricane warnings right here across the area right here in the red. Where's our spaghetti models here? Let me go over here real quick and see what we got. Kind of want to see how these paths are looking. The GFS models here showing a little bit more northward turn once it gets over here around Mexico. Of course, it will obviously weaken quite a bit in this region, which is good. But it does show somewhat of a northward turn. We got to watch that closely because that could be, something to watch here for the states. This one keeps it more south around Corpus Christi area, southward. But, oops, did not mean to go back over here. Let's go back to the numerical model. It's just been one of those days. I am tired. The heat. I'm done with the heat. We got over at least 7-8 days of 110 degrees or higher coming up for my area. I'm so done with it. Let's check out the lower dynamics of wind out here across the area. Here is Hurricane Beryl right there in the low. See that? We'll put this into motion and watch this continue its path there westward. Once it hits around the Mexico area, it does look like it wants to just meander off there into the region, bringing some rainfall, heavy rainfall, I'm sure at that. But everything looks like it's going to keep that out of the Gulf. At least around the Gulf states, going to be well south here as far as the GFS model run goes. So that is good. ECM WF model has a little bit less forecast time on it, but does show a continued westward track here. Everything's just heading straight west, and that's good news. So definitely keep that hurricane away from land if we can. Hopefully it will weaken. All right, folks, I am out of here. Hope everyone has a good night. And like I say, we got temperatures really cooking out here across Northern California in the next, all next week and next weekend as well. So we're looking at 110 degrees or higher. The highest forecast I see is about 116 for a couple days. And that is probably going to break some records for sure here in Northern California. Oh goodness, not ready for this. Have a good one. Keep an eye on Hawaii. Of course, it's at its maximum point, I think. We should see something soon. We really should. I mean, it's possible we could see some type of displacement off to the East Rift Zone or an eruptive event take place here in the area where we're seeing this warming. So we'll continue to monitor and, of course, report back on any major changes. For now, have a good night, folks. We'll catch you guys back out here for the Monday morning update.